Good morning you guys, it's Karen and I wanted to do this video and show you a couple of things that I have bought that are children's toys that I use for Watson for either training or just play. And you'll know if you buy toys for your dogs that they can be very expensive, especially if you buy them from places like Pets at Home. But I have had a look in kind of toy departments a few times and thought, you know what, there's a few children's toys that will work for Watson, and these are items that I use either for training or just for play. So I thought I would show them to you, and they're all inexpensive and I got all of mine on Amazon. So the first one is just a hula hoop, and it came like this. And so you just make it up. I think I'm missing one piece from this. So you can see it's quite big. And I could make it even bigger if need be. So the way that I have used this, I suppose this might not work if you have a chewer. If you've got a dog that just is going to chew this to pieces. Although it's okay if they're going to chew it and spit it out. If they're a chewer and would swallow it, it might not work. But with Watson, I have used this for training in terms of shaping. And shaping is where you basically just get an object, put it on the floor, show the dog that you've got a treat and a clicker if you use a clicker, and then they just have to do something with that object. So I firstly put this on the floor and my idea was I wanted him to sit inside it. Then I got a toy and put it on the floor next to it, and my idea was I wanted him to put the toy inside it. Then I held the hoop up and my idea was I wanted him to walk through the hoop. Unfortunately, he did it in a bit quicker time than I had hoped. I really hoped it would take him a bit more thinking time, but there you go. I can now do training with him and just say through, you know, and I'm sure I'll think of something else to do with it. So that's one thing. Good boy, clever boy, look at you. Good boy. Yes, there we go. You can leave them both in there, you know. No, leave it in there. You would have got a treat just for leaving it in there. So I put the food through here. What's this? Clever boy. All the way through. Good boy. Bear in mind that Watson is very used to shaping type training, and if your dog isn't used to that type of training and you just put a hoop on the floor and you're holding a piece of high value treat, I was holding a pork loin slice and a clicker, it will really tire them out if they're trying to do something to figure out exactly what you want them to do. So it's a great way to get them tired. This is something else that you may have seen me use. I may have shown you a video with him using this, or it may have been in a vlog. And this is just a ring toss. And so this has been for training again. And so I started off, I just took all of these off, and we're still only about halfway up. So I just put this on the floor and I give him, you know, I just hold a ring out for him, and then he's got to the point where he can put it on top. And then eventually I will put this on top and get him to put the rings all on top of this. But you can also just use this. You could use this for him to touch the top of it. You could teach him just to touch it with his nose. You could teach him to hold his nose on it, as in target. You could teach him to walk around the cone. You could teach him to knock the cone over. Well, it's not a cone, but you know what I mean. And it was, again, very inexpensive. I can't remember the exact price, but it was under a tenner for sure. Knock it over. Knock it over. Good boy. Good boy. Listen. Good boy. Whoops, he's only had a couple of sessions on this. Oh, nice try. Try again. Try again. Yes. What a clever boy. You fed up? Hold it. Good boy. Next is this pop-up tunnel. So it comes like this and it literally pops up. It's got little ties. If I let go, you'll see it pops up. And it is for a child, and it's got little holes in the side here. And it is just a tunnel. So this would be okay, I would say for a small to medium dog. So Watson is about the size of a small lab. So any bigger than that and they may struggle to sit inside it. But what I would say this is good for, this would be good if you're wanting to teach them agility. Now you can buy agility tunnels, but the agility tunnels are firstly a lot more expensive than this. Again, I think this was maybe $8.99 or something. I will link everything for you in the description. But also you need to use pegs to put them down and you need to set them up. This you just pop up and there it is in the garden. The only thing is the wind might blow it away. It hasn't so far and I've had a few windy days, but yeah, this doesn't take any setting up at all. You can just plop it in the garden and it's got these little holes in it. So this has been really good fun for us because you can use this to teach them agility, to train them to go through. You can use it as a kind of sun shield. Watson has actually sat in here a few times when he's been in the garden. You can use it to hide things in and play games of find it. You know, I've put a few treats in here and said find it, or I've put in his little rag with the gun oil scent on to find that. And you could even go one step further and buy one of those little tents, mini tents, especially if you've got a bigger dog that wouldn't fit in here. You can buy those tents that you sit like that you put on the beach, you know, to shade you from the sun, something like that, for the same sort of reason. But for this, at least you can, like I said, use it for agility training. So that is idea number 3. Okay, find it. Where is it? Find it. It's in there. You got it. Next is these sponge type balls of all sizes. I didn't realise you could get them in sort of football size like this, and you can also get them in small sizes like this. And these are great because Watson does like destroying balls occasionally, and you can see there's a few chunks out of this one. Watson isn't particularly, or hasn't been, a toy motivated dog, but he's starting to get interested in toys. So these have been great. And the good thing about them is they're so cheap. I think I got a packet of 12 for maybe £10, something like that. And so occasionally he will destroy a whole ball, but it's occasionally, so it's not too bad, you know. But also I'm able to throw them and kick them and they're not going to injure him. And this one here, he can kick around in the garden like a proper football. And I actually bought these cones a while ago. I don't think these are children's toys, but they were very, very inexpensive. And so I have used these as a kind of training thing by getting him to push this ball between the cones as a sort of training thing. And also he has played with this ball in the garden. And so this is something that you could probably get the dog to play with the children. You know, they would probably happily kick it between them or nose it. He uses his nose to play with this. So I didn't realise these existed. Maybe you already know about these, but they're just so, it's so nice to have a soft ball, I think, that dogs can play with, because I have seen several times I've seen dogs get hit by really hard tennis balls, you know, and so I thought that was a great idea, having a selection of sizes of soft foam balls in. Push. Yes! Oh, clever boy! Yay! You did. And then finally, probably a popular one anyway, but a paddling pool. But just another way of thinking about your paddling pool is, if you've got it and your dog isn't keen on going in it, because I know certainly Watson isn't, maybe think about training them to go in it, because that's what I've been doing with Watson, and so he's getting a little bit more keen on going into the paddling pool. But something else as well is, if they turn out to not enjoy it as a paddling pool, think about maybe using it as a sandpit. Maybe they like digging, and you could maybe use it as a fun pit. And if they like balls, for example, these soft foam balls, you could put sand in it and bury them in there, and then tell them to go find it, put a little bit of scent on the ball, bury it in the sandpit, tell them to go find it and give them a treat when they do find it, something like that, you know, just so that you're still making use of it and making a fun game out of it. I don't know whether Watson will ever voluntarily go into the paddling pool, but he will now go into it if I ask him to, whereas at the beginning he wouldn't. He will just, you'll see from the training, he'll just put a paw into it, and it took a while for me to get him to actually get even all 4 paws into it. Are you ready? Find it. Yes, clever boy, find it, find it. Yes, it's on a football. What treat's there? In. Oh, 1 foot in. That's a good boy. That'll do. Good boy. Is that it? In. 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 Come on, in. In. Yes! Good boy. What a clever boy. Stay, stay, stay. I'll give you another one. Good boy. That's a clever boy. Clever. That's everything for now. I just thought it would maybe encourage people to have a look in the toy department. If you were wanting to buy a new toy for your dog, you might find something interesting there. Let me know if there's anything that you've bought that is a children's toy that's worked really well for your dog. There are other things that I've bought in the sort of baby toy department in Asda when he was a puppy, certainly things that were like little chew toys, you know, he liked things with tags on and stuff, and I know there was a lot of things like that. So definitely if you've got a puppy, have a look out in the baby section. But like I said, let me know what you've bought that's a little bit different and not in the usual aisles that you would find stuff for dogs. So thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you again soon.